What's up, guys? It's Dan from Coin Bureau Trading, back at it again with another crypto market update. Today we've got Brett, specifically based Brett, Book of Meme or BOEM or however you want to pronounce it, and Reef. So obviously these are the three cryptos that have been pumping the most over the last 24 hours. I'm sure you all want to know where they're headed next, why they're pumping, how high they could go, whether they're going to get rejected and head lower. That's the kind of information we're going to be covering on all the top three performing cryptos from Monday through Thursday. If this is the kind of content you enjoy, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ping that notification bell. Do keep in mind, though, guys, that nothing in this video is financial advice. This is literally just my personal trading strategy, my personal analysis of the charts, if you will. And if you have a different opinion, then that's great. As I've said before, and I'll say again, the more difference of opinion we have, the better. So if you have any comments, concerns, criticisms, whatever, feel free to drop them down in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you guys. And with all that said, let's get straight into it. So first we have Brett, and of course, before we take too close of a look at the charts here, we have to ask ourselves, why is Brett pumping? And of course, as you guys know, the way that I like to check that is I go to the social media, specifically the Twitter or X of the page. So here we're on Brett, and if we scroll down, we kind of like look around and say, okay, what is the catalyst? What is the catalyst? Is there something that's happened over the last 24 hours that justifies this pump? The short answer is not really. I guess there was, I don't know, like some winning match here in baseball, somehow related to Brett. I haven't looked too closely into it. But to be honest, guys, like this is not something that's gonna, determine whether a crypto is pumping or not. Like, I'm sorry, even if there's like some sponsorship or whatever, I know that's very common with these cryptos. Just because some dude won and the guy had like this crypto logo on his jersey, trust me, it's not enough to cause the price to pump. No one's paying attention to that. But if we go here to CoinMarketCap, as you guys know, when I can't see a very clear catalyst, then I like to go to CoinMarketCap, go to the Markets tab. And then sort by volume, which I've already done. And you can see that most of the Brett's trading volume is happening on DigiFinex, which is kind of like one of these offshore exchanges, lesser known and a little bit sketchy. Personally, I don't mind. I've used DigiFinex before. I think it's a great exchange. But relative to other exchanges, let's just say it's a little bit less trustworthy, for better or for worse. And that should probably give you a little bit of suspicion. Is like, okay, what's going on here? And you can even see, guys, if you look closely, you can see that the price of Brett is actually higher on DigiFinex than it is on Bybit or the other exchanges, like only slightly. But that tells you that all the buying pressure is coming from this offshore exchange that isn't as well known, and that makes you kind of like, it should probably make you scratch your head and think, okay, like who's really doing the buying here? What's really going on? So with that all being said, keeping in mind, this is a move that's like a little bit sketchy. The target math we've got going here kind of makes a lot more sense. So as you can see, I have a starting point of 0.08, resistance of 0.10, so 10 cents, and the difference there is, of course, 2 cents, and so that gives us a target of 12 cents. And that target is almost hit. Like right now at the time of shooting, Brett is around like 11.6 cents or something. So it looks like it's going to hit that target. And as you can see, guys, if you zoom out, you can see there's a lot of sell pressure around that level. Sorry if it's a little bit messy here with this target math. But you can see there's a lot of resistance, rather, a lot of sell pressure around that level. The moment you go over 12 cents, there's going to be a lot of sell pressure from all those people who bought the top back in June. Feel bad for those guys, press F in the comments. But jokes aside, guys, it looks like most of this move is over. We'll probably see a little bit of chop and consolidation after that. Like once this target is hit, maybe it's already kind of been hit, and we're going to see a little bit of a pullback down to this resistance level, which of course, once you're above it, then that becomes support. So a little bit of chop, kind of like how we saw back here. And then probably Brett will keep moving higher, because I do think that altcoins are headed higher. Even the worst altcoins, let's say, not saying that Brett is the worst, but even these meme coins, cryptos that don't really have any like fundamentals, everything is going to pump. It's just a question of when and by how much. So always keep that in mind, guys. When you see crypto pumping, you're like, how is it possible? Everything will pump. I repeat it, everything will pump. Is just a question of when and how much. And that's where you need to be super selective. But that's a topic for another time. We'll get back to that later in the video. And as you guys can see, of course, we are using Bybit here. And if you want to get some sweet Bybit deal, then check out the link in the description. For exclusively through the Coin Bureau, we have up to $60,000 in rewards and 0% maker fees for 30 days. As I've mentioned on many occasions, sorry guys, is that even if you're not a huge whale, so long as you're trading frequently, if you're someone who's trading frequently, then definitely do take advantage of these deals. We don't just have it for Bybit, we have it for all these other exchanges on the deals page, and that's going to help you a lot, especially if you're going to be trading, if you know or you think you're going to be trading frequently. Shaving off those fees is going to save you $10, $20, even $100. Even if you're trading, which is like a few $1,000s, if you're doing it frequently enough, you're going to lose some of those profits to those fees. So take advantage of those deals using the link in the description. Anyways, guys, moving on now to Book of Meme here. So this is where things also get interesting. Of course, same thing. So Book of Meme is pumping. Why is this meme coin pumping? Let's check like the social media. The social media, according to CoinMarketCap, is affiliated with Book of Meme. Book of Meme doesn't really seem to have like an official Twitter/X. Like I'm sure there's like some fan accounts and community accounts, and I already went through those. I didn't really find anything significant. You can see here it's like, oh, BOEM is the biggest gainer over the last 24 hours. And I guess there's like, some NFTs or something going on. But again, guys, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm sorry, but this is not something that justifies, it's not like they're listing on like some another exchange on Coinbase or something like that, right? It's not some big announcement that would justify inflows, in my opinion. So again, we have to go back and we have to check, okay, let's look at CoinMarketCap. Let's see what's happening in terms of volume down here in the markets tab. Similar story, guys. Like, of course, lots of trading on Binance, which makes sense. As a fun fact, guys, this is where things get really interesting. You guys might have heard a story that basically some Book of Meme whale had bought a whole bunch of this meme coin just before it listed on Binance. And it's funny, like I saw that news and I was thinking, like maybe I should, throw in a little bit just because it's probably gonna be some kind of insider trading. And that's basically what happened. Like, like before it listed on Binance, like all these whales were buying up and then it listed, which kind of tells you there's some like insider stuff going on there. Not accusing Binance of anything there. It's probably just like traders who just heard, someone leaked information and they were able to basically capitalize on that. But similar idea, guys. You can see that there's a lot of trading here on these like offshore exchanges. Lots of trading, I guess, on this CoinUp exchange, on Gate.io. And again, personally, I use Gate.io. I think Gate.io is great. But of course, these are kind of like these exchanges where you're like, where's that money really coming from? Like, is this really a genuine move? Or is this just like whales playing around instead of on DEXs, they're doing it on SEXs? And I think that's the case. And again, we got that confirmed in this case as well with when we look at the target math. So the starting point of 0.006, resistance around 0.008. Again, guys, I always draw these charts conservative, and this is all on the daily. And the target there would be 0.001 as the difference is 0.002. And sorry, it's a 0.01 as the target. Lots of zeros, guys. You know how it is. But anyways, as you can see, like the target hasn't really been hit yet. So there is a little bit more juice left to squeeze, so to speak. But it's not, it's not that great of like a risk reward. Like maybe upside around 16%, downside around 8%. Like, yeah, maybe you can use some leverage and like boost that up. But in my opinion, it's not really worth it. I don't think this is something that's worth trading. I'm personally, again, I'm not going to be touching meme coins really for these trades unless I see a chart that's like, wow, like that looks really good. The chart has to look really good for me to like put a position on. As you can see here, even if we go back in time with Book of Meme, you can see that, like it's just been kind of like bleeding over the last few months. So this is a chart that's going to have, or a crypto rather, that's going to have lots of resistance on the way up. And especially around the psychological level of ascent, you're going to have lots of people selling into that. And you can see even like going historically from the moment that it listed on Bybit, that was the price that it listed at. So this seems to be a very, very, very key psychological level. And the fact that it's struggling to get up there is because there's also some resistance on the way up already. So this is not something I would be touching. And yeah, maybe it'll go a little bit higher, but I don't think it's going to go that much higher for this meme coin. And there's even a more fundamental reason I'll quickly point out is that I do think that the capital is kind of flowing from Solana's ecosystem to Ethereum's, and Book of Meme appears to be on Solana there. So I think that you're going to see that capital rotate out of these Solana meme coins into Ethereum's ecosystem. But I guess that's also a topic for another video and a bridge that we'll cross when we get to it, so to speak. Anyways, guys, so now for next up, or I guess finally we have Reef. And you guys actually might remember that we covered Reef a couple days ago, or rather last week. So the chart here is looking really interesting, and I'm going to try and break it down for you. So what you're looking at here is, of course, the 0.007 target that we had set last time was surpassed. Like I was expecting, if you remember, I was expecting a little bit of pullback and then that it would keep going higher after that. But again, guys, because I'm super conservative with my charts, I always keep in mind that like, the risks are kind of skewed to the upside. It's possible that it's going to overshoot by a little bit. And same thing, if we're entering now like this era where these altcoins are really going to be pumping a lot, it's like the risks are always skewed to the upside. So burn that into your brain. The risk is always to the upside, especially if you're drawing the charts conservatively like I am. There's a risk that it's going to keep going higher. There's a risk that it's going to keep going higher. Just like repeat that to yourself. But of course, again, like the reason we do that, the reason I do that rather, is because I would rather get out of that position a little bit early and make sure that I have those profits rather than say, oh, I'm going to like, really ride that wave to the very, very top. It's very hard to do that, especially when you're, basically competing with all these different traders and all these like trading bots and stuff. It's very tough, at least in these market conditions for now. Once we see more retail investors come in, it becomes a little bit easier. But again, guys, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Anyways, guys, so as you can see, we had like kind of like our original starting point of 0.0015. The original resistance was 0.0045, and that gave us an original target of around 0.007. And of course, that target's now been surpassed. So basically what you do is you kind of like bump everything up, if that makes sense. So now the original resistance becomes the new starting point. So 0.005 is the new starting point. And then now the original target is now the resistance, which has already been passed. so 0.007. And then when you take the difference there, it's 0.0025, and that gives us a new target of 0.0095. And you can see the target has almost been hit. And I actually drew a little kind of handy I guess, path chart here that I do think we're going to see a little bit of consolidation like we saw back here in March. I guess that was in March 2022, as time flies with Reef. But this is, again, like underscores the fact, guys, that I think that altcoins are going to see a huge season, because if Reef is recovering, to levels that it hasn't seen in over 2 years, you can see it's similar actually for many altcoins that are kind of like these first movers. They're really recovering to those levels that they had way back in the previous bull market, and that should give you a sign like, okay, like something, something's coming up. It's something is starting. And in this case, I do think, though, like Reef is probably going to get a rejection from around this 0.0095 level, especially because it's close to that 0.01, like that psychological level. And of course, guys, like if you consider like, wow, like how many people do you think bought back in the previous bull market? Probably a lot. So there's going to be a lot of people probably selling into this pump. And that's probably going to cause it to pull back a little bit, maybe possibly all the way back down to this, I guess this original target, which is going to be support to the downside, and then we'll kind of consolidate a little bit like we did back here, and then Reef will keep moving higher. That would kind of be my base case. So basically, the Reef pump is basically over for now. I know I said that last week, but again, like there was always that risk of the upside. And okay, it went up, an extra 10-20%, like whatever. That's nothing compared to what's going to be coming for a lot of these cryptos. So don't sweat it and think I missed out on this like 10 or 20%, and I could have had more if I hadn't used leverage. It's like there's going to be so many opportunities, guys. Like you don't even know. Like so, if you miss one, you miss two, you miss 5, you miss 10. Like there's going to be literally hundreds more, I think, in the weeks coming up. So just don't stress out and don't think I completely missed that. You haven't missed a single thing. I promise you that. If you're watching this now, you're early. If you're subscribed now, if you're liking the channel now, you're super early. If you're in the comments, you're super early. Anyways, guys, but I'm completely serious there. Anyway, so I think we're going to see a little bit of chopping with Reef now, and then it'll probably blast through that 0.0095 target, which of course is going to be around that psychological level of 0.01. And I do think Reef's going to keep heading higher. And of course, I probably should have started with explaining why is Reef pumping. And this is again like one of these interesting things where I don't necessarily see the catalyst here. I guess there was like some NFT battle game is going to be launching on Reef, but if you actually look at the number of followers, it's only like 600 followers. So it's like, okay, like come on, guys, do you think Reef is pumping because of 600 followers of this crypto because it launched on Reef? Do you really think those 600 people are pumping the price this much? Probably not. And again, we can confirm that here. If we go to, again, to the CoinMarketCap, go to the markets tab, sort by volume, you can see, wow, like almost half the volume is coming from Gate.io. Most of the volume is coming from these offshore exchanges that aren't really like very well known or like considered to be super trustworthy. And again, like nothing against these exchanges. I've used many of them. They're awesome. But yeah, like it just tells you that there's probably some whales moving around here. And again, like that doesn't take away from the price action. Typically, guys, like what happens with these cryptos is that whales will come in, they pump it, they suck in the retail, the price starts going higher, and then the narrative just kind of comes out to justify it. It's like the fake price action becomes real adoption, if that makes any sense. This is what I think we're going to see, honestly, for most altcoins. So if you're seeing me like saying this about Reef and you're saying in the comments, oh, I'm like a fan of Reef and they're not manipulating and like nothing, and I'm not blaming Reef. It's like there's just these whales that are moving prices and they're sucking retail investors in, and eventually that FOMO actually becomes real adoption. And if we're honest, guys, like this is literally most of crypto. So if you see me saying it in every video, it's because it's a very common thing. It's going to be very rare that we come across an altcoin that we say, wow, like this thing actually has legs, it has fundamentals, it has fees and revenue and all these things. There will be a few of those, I'm sure, that we'll be covering. But for the time being, we're dealing with a lot of speculation, a lot of whales, a lot of experienced retail investors that are just kind of like, battling against each other on these meme coins. And that's, that's what we have. And that's what we have to, that's what everyone's wondering, where's it going to go? So that's what we're going to be analyzing for the time being. And hopefully we're analyzing, let's say, more quality crypto projects in the future. Hey, on that note, guys, if you do want to see some, I guess, like in-depth analysis of like quality crypto projects, small caps, like these crypto gems that haven't been discovered yet, this is exactly what we do in the Coin Bureau Club. We basically review these promising small cap altcoins that were reviewed or I guess voted on by our members. So that keeps us objective. So you guys can like literally vote if you're a member on which altcoin we review. We also showcase our personal crypto portfolio. We also show our watch lists, and we have like a members Discord where I do a daily technical analysis on Bitcoin and Ethereum. I also answer questions, and if you guys have like requests like, oh, like could you do some technical analysis on this crypto or that crypto, if I have time, then I'll definitely do that. And yeah, that's what we got at the Coin Bureau Club. It's an awesome community. We got a few thousand people in there. And the Discord is honestly awesome. And shout out to anyone from the Discord who's now commenting in the comment section. I'm sure you'll see a couple of those from time to time. But anyways, guys, if you did enjoy the video, then again, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, ping that notification bell. You don't want to miss what's coming up. I think it's going to be really exciting. It's not just going to be meme coins. Again, like the reason I'm covering these is because these are the ones that are pumping the most. And I just know that this is what people are searching for. Like, why is Brett pumping? How high is Brett going to go? Book of Meme, all these ones. So, for better or for worse, this is what we're going to be covering. And for those of you who came because of those meme coins and you made it this far in the video, thank you for sticking around. I hope you learned something. And I'll see you in the next one.